In this video, I'll be changing the water pump on this first generation Chevy Traverse. The water pump is located on the passenger side of the engine with very limited access, but thankfully this job can be done by only removing the passenger front tire and front fender liner and a few of the plastic covers in the engine bay. Water pumps typically fail when the bearing seals start to leak. It usually isn't an emergency repair that has to be done immediately, but leaving it too long will cause quite a mess inside the engine bay, and you will run the risk of your engine overheating if you let the coolant level get too low. I'll put a link in the description below for a replacement water pump for this 3.6 liter engine. One thing to note is that the mounting bolts are torqued to yield, so it is recommended to also replace them as well when replacing the pump. The tools you need for this job are a flathead screwdriver or trim removal tool, a 10mm wrench, a 1/4 inch drive ratchet with 10mm shallow and deep well sockets, a scraper tool or razor blade, a 1/2 inch drive ratchet or breaker bar for removing the belt, a 1/4 inch drive torque wrench capable of 89 inch-pounds, a T20 Torx bit and driver, some long pliers or some sort of tool to guide the old water pump around to the back of the engine, a 7/8 inch or 22mm socket and wrench, or a 4-way lug nut wrench for the lug nuts. You'll also need a funnel, a work light, some paper towels, a floor jack and jack stand, and a catch pan, the wider the better. To refill the cooling system, you'll need around 1 gallon of Dex-Cool 50/50 premixed coolant, but it wouldn't hurt to have an extra gallon on standby in case your cooling system was low to begin with. Before you get started, the engine needs to be cold and the vehicle parked on a somewhat level surface. So now let's get started by setting the parking brake and jacking up the front passenger tire off the ground, then lowering the frame onto a jack stand for safety. Now use the 7/8 inch socket to remove the lug nuts and move the passenger front wheel out of the way. Using the T20 Torx bit, remove the 4 screws from the front fender liner, 2 holding the liner to the front of the fender and 2 securing the liner under the front bumper. Then use the screwdriver or trim tool to remove the 9 trim clips holding the fender liner in place. Now carefully pull the fender liner from around the bumper and remove it. This will expose everything you need to be able to get access to the water pump. While you're using the trim tool, go ahead and pop the hood and remove the 10 trim clips holding the upper radiator support cover in place. Also take out the 2 pins on each side holding the weather stripping to the cover, then remove the cover. Also remove the oil fill cap, take off the engine cover, then replace the oil cap. Moving underneath to the side of the engine, use the 10mm wrench to loosen the 4 bolts on the water pump pulley. The water pump is located near the center of the engine, right above the crankshaft pulley. Do this before removing the belt so the belt holds the pulley in place. You don't have to fully remove the bolts yet, just slightly loosen them. Now use the 1/2 inch breaker bar or ratchet in the square hole of the belt tensioner to the right of the water pump to pull back on the tensioner pulley, then slide the belt off of the idler pulley to the right of the tensioner. Slowly let off tension and remove the ratchet, then fully remove the belt from the engine. You will have to slide the belt between the tensioner pulley and the engine once you get it off the rest of the pulleys. Now with the belt removed, you can finish removing the 4 bolts holding the water pump pulley onto the water pump and set the pulley aside. Now take the 10mm deep well socket and ratchet and remove the 6 bolts holding the water pump on the engine block. Access is extremely limited here, so be prepared for some hand gymnastics. Once those bolts have been removed, place a catch pan underneath the water pump and have a few paper towels on standby. The old water pump should detach from the engine block with some gentle persuasion, followed by a gush of coolant. To remove the old water pump, there simply isn't enough space to slide it out the bottom, but thankfully it's possible to take it out from the top side of the engine. First, prop it up against the frame, then from above the engine, guide it around to the firewall side and slide it between the firewall and the upper intake. I found these long-nosed curved pliers worked great for reaching down through that narrow space. With the old water pump removed, take a few minutes to scrape clean any old gasket material from the engine and wipe the surface clean. You can also try to wipe down the frame and everything else that got drenched by coolant. The new water pump should come with a new gasket. The gasket will only work in one orientation, and it's not very easy to move it around once you get it beside the engine. So while you still have room to work, take a minute to find the correct orientation with a new pump, then set it aside. Now slide the new water pump in the same way the old one came out and lean it against the frame while you move back around to the wheel well. With the new bolts ready, get the water pump and gasket lined up on the engine. It will only go one way, so check to make sure that all the holes are lined up before starting any bolts. After you get 2 bolts started, everything should stay put fairly well while you start the rest of the bolts. Get all 6 bolts finger tight before torquing. I found it helpful to use a deep well socket by itself to help run in all the bolts. There is a specific crossing torque sequence for tightening them, with 2 passes at 89 inch-pounds, followed by an additional 45 degrees, which is 1/8 of a turn. Start with the topmost bolt at 89 inch-pounds with a 10 mm socket. Move down to the bottom bolt, then upper left, lower right, far left, then far right. The second pass will follow that same pattern at the same 89 inch-pounds. The final pass will be with a regular ratchet, turn each bolt an additional 45 degrees following that same pattern. If you get a water pump that doesn't come with new bolts and you choose to reuse the old bolts, I would recommend not tightening the entire 1/8 of a turn, as you might risk breaking one of the bolts. Now that the new water pump is secured, it's time to reattach the water pump pulley. There's very little space to reattach it, but once you get the first 2 10 mm bolts started, the other 2 are fairly easy. You won't be able to fully tighten them yet without the belt on, but get them as tight as you can. To reinstall the belt, start by slipping it between the engine and the tensioner pulley, wrap the lower section to the left around the crank pulley, then to the right over to the AC compressor. Take the section above the tensioner pulley to the left around the power steering pump, then go over the water pump pulley and over to the alternator on the right. Now pull all of the slack between the alternator and the AC compressor on the right and hook it on this bolt while you get the 1/2 inch ratchet ready for the tensioner. While pulling to the left on the tensioner pulley, take the loop on the right and loop it over the idler pulley. Now double check all pulleys to make sure the belt is correctly placed. Before installing the wheel well liner, take the 10 mm wrench or a ratchet and tighten all 4 bolts on the water pump pulley. Now you can put the wheel well liner back in and secure it with the 9 retaining clips and 4 T20 Torx screws. Mount the passenger front wheel back on and tighten the lug nuts in a star pattern. Lift the car off the jack stand and slowly lower it to the ground, then torque the lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds, again in a star pattern. Moving back to the engine bay, you can reinstall the engine cover. Now remove the radiator cap and start filling it with a 50-50 mix of Dexcool coolant. You can either buy pre-mixed coolant or buy a gallon of concentrate and a gallon of distilled water and mix it yourself. Fill the radiator until it's almost completely full. With the radiator cap still off, crank the engine and allow the new water pump to circulate the coolant to get out all of the trapped air. It may take a minute or so, but the air should eventually find its way to the radiator. Also, turn on your heater and set the temperature to a warm setting to also allow the coolant to circulate through the heater core. As bubbles rise to the top of the radiator, keep the bottle of coolant nearby and top off as necessary. Eventually the bubbles will stop and the level will slowly start to rise as the engine warms up and thermal expansion kicks in. But before the level reaches the top, reinstall the radiator cap and shut off the engine. Now top off the coolant reservoir to the full mark, which is a little less than halfway up on the tank. Unfortunately, the job's not quite over yet, as there is likely a little more air trapped in the system. However, it is safe to take it for a test drive to help migrate that air up to the radiator. After the engine has been allowed to cool again for at least several hours after the test drive, or overnight if possible, open the radiator cap and top off the radiator once again, as well as the reservoir. Now you can reinstall the upper radiator support cover and secure it with the 10 retaining clips and the 2 push connectors on the weather stripping. It is possible that there is still a small amount of air still trapped in the cooling system, so keep an eye on the coolant reservoir after a few more days of driving. The coolant level in the reservoir should be at the full mark when the system is cold. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And check out my Traverse playlist for all of my Chevrolet Traverse related videos.